notice before it can be talked about in a committee. Only 24 hours notice. Everyone who comes up to the Capitol to help us, they say, well, I really need more notice so that I can, and it just doesn't work that way. We get 24 hours. We see the agendas 24 hours in advance, and then we're scrambling to come up with testimony on those bills. Another point that Danny made was she talked about committees that have already happened. They didn't used to, but in a big way now, they are discussing bills in interim committees that happen once a week throughout the year, once a month throughout the year. And those interim committees are combined senators and representatives, and a bill that gets a unanimous vote in an interim committee gets to skip hearings in the regular session. So they can go straight to the floor, and they really catch us unawares. All of a sudden it's like, how did this get to a floor vote? And it's because they're working all through the year. And so it takes a lot of manpower to be on top of what's going on in all the different committees and all the bills. There's usually 1,200 bills that are requested. Now, legislative research doesn't have time to write near that many. They usually accomplish between 700 and 800 that actually get text. So there's between 700 and 800 bills that we have to read to find out if there's anything in them we hate or anything in them we love. And then we prioritize them to start lobbying on them. It's huge. So in 7.5 weeks, we're reading over 700 bills, and then we have to spend time alerting you, and we have to spend time trying to get you to come help us lobby. Lobbying is the hardest of all the efforts because we stand outside of a chamber and we ask for people to come out, and it's a one-on-one conversation, and when there's 75 people in the House, we don't have enough time to talk to everybody. So if I can please encourage you to consider coming up. Joe Call, are you still here? He was here earlier, but he told me he was going to have to leave early.
He was here, but he's
okay. So Joe.
So they're purposely trying to hide these things from us?
No, they're not purposely trying to hide anything. They really aren't. Now, Utah has a 7.5 week session, and that is by far one of the shortest in the entire nation. For one, I love that idea. I love that idea. 7.5 weeks, that's all it is. And by the time it's over, spring is here, and my winter's all, used up. And it makes me happy that we're only 7.5 weeks a year. So they're not trying to hide anything. They're just trying to accomplish an awful lot in 7.5 weeks, really, truly. So let's not get down on them, but it's fast and frenzied, and it is that way for a reason, because they don't meet for a whole year. Some states, they meet periodically throughout the entire year, or they have 4-month-long sessions, or they have 6-month-long sessions. And so I'm grateful for the way we do it in Utah, but we have to work with the beast we've got. And it is fast and it is frenzied. So that's what we deal with here. We can use all the help we can get. Now, I'm here to talk about national popular vote, which I prefer to call national plunder of votes, because it is a scheme to steal your vote out of your hand. Okay, now this last presidential election, really great example. Who won that election?
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. And why did he win? He got the most electoral votes. Did he win by a slight margin? Did he win by a slight margin? He won by a huge margin, right? Did he get the most popular votes? No. What was the margin there? It tells you if you look close. Underneath the electoral vote numbers, it's in a light gray. Can you see them? Okay, it was 3 million. So Hillary Clinton got 60, I can't see them. She got almost 66 million votes. Donald Trump got almost 63 million votes. So she won by 3 million votes. Is that a lot of votes to you?
Yeah.
That's a lot of votes? It is.
3 million in California.
Okay, she won by 3 million in California alone. There it is, with 55 electoral votes, okay? This is key to national popular vote. And here's another key to national popular vote. If you could read the little gray numbers underneath the electoral votes there, you would see that Hillary Clinton got 48.1% of the vote. Is that a majority? No. Our presidential elections never, ever, ever garner a majority of votes. Should we ever, ever want to put a president into office that didn't get a majority of the votes of the people of the United States? Do we want to do that? No. And hence we have the Electoral College, where we send our electors to elect our president, and by the time they're done, they have a majority vote, right? The Electoral College makes the majority vote. Now, I want to really quickly play. Got to get out of there. Oh.
I was going to say, that doesn't show the whole thing because Hillary won 300 counties, Trump won 31.
And we're gonna talk about that, okay? I'm gonna play.
President of California,
Oh, I need the,
president of the 49 member.
is this the sound? Okay, I hope I just plugged in the sound. I'm gonna play this video. This is, I don't have sound. I don't have sound? Which is the sound cord, you guys? It was plugged in before? Isn't this the sound?
Yeah, right there.
Yeah?
Is it not working?
Okay, let me try it again, and maybe I just need to turn up my sound.
Which candidate will get the 270 votes needed to win the Electoral College? Our founders so deeply feared a tyranny of the majority that they rejected the idea of a direct vote for president. That's why they created the Electoral College. For more than 2 centuries, it has encouraged coalition building, given a voice to both big and small states, and discouraged voter fraud. Unfortunately, there is now a well-financed, below-the-radar effort to do away with the Electoral College. It is called National Popular Vote, or NPV, and it wants to do exactly what the founders rejected: award the job of president to the person who gets the most votes nationally. Even if you agree with this goal, it's hard to agree with their method. Rather than amend the Constitution, which they have no chance of doing, NPV plans an end run around it. Here's what NPV does. It asks states to sign a contract to give their presidential electors to the winner of the national popular vote instead of the winner of the state's popular vote. What does that mean in practice? It means that if NPV had been in place in 2004, for example, when George W. Bush won the national vote, California's electoral votes would have gone to Bush, even though John Kerry won that state by 1.2 million votes. Can you imagine strongly Democratic California calmly awarding its electors to a Republican? Another problem with NPV's plan is that it robs states of their sovereignty. A key benefit of the Electoral College system is that it decentralizes control over the election. Currently, a presidential election is really 51 separate elections, one in each state and one in D.C. These 51 separate processes exist side by side in harmony. They do not and cannot interfere with each other. California's election code applies only
Okay,
to
and for the sake of time, I'm going
California,
to
which
not
means that
finish that
state's
video. I encourage you to go find it on YouTube. Just look up National Popular Vote. And this one is a Prager University. It's the best one that I've seen, and I've looked at a lot. It's the best one that I've seen that explains it. She goes on to talk about how all the states have different election laws, which would cause some states to complain about, well, our votes were cast this way, your votes were cast the other way. And so lawsuits and everything else. But one thing that she brought out was that this is a states' rights issue, right? Our president is not elected by popular vote. He's elected by 51 elections that then they go on. Now, it's interesting because she used the Bush-Kerry election where California's votes would have had to go to Bush. Well, I like to use the Bush-Gore election, where Gore got, like Hillary Clinton, got the most popular votes, and Bush won. And the reason why I like to use that is because I have the numbers for that. I don't have the numbers for the Trump-Clinton election yet, and I need to put up another slide for you to see. Because this is the one that he was talking about, and this is the one that shows the United States by county. Now, national popular vote was a bill here in Utah for 3 years in a row, and every single time a Democrat sponsored it. Then it disappeared for a couple of years, and in the meantime, the national popular vote people, they earned a lot of money, they did a lot of fundraising, got a lot of money behind them, and then they started whining and dining the legislators all over the country. And these bills came back, this time sponsored by Republicans. In my lifetime, there have been 2 presidential elections where a national popular vote would have changed the outcome, and guess what they were? Bush, Gore president, and Trump, Clinton for president. This kind of scheme will never help a conservative. They will never help a Republican. I can't understand why Republicans are sponsoring these bills now. And this is a good idea. So I remember Howard Stevenson was the first Republican who said, yeah, national popular vote is a good idea. And I said, what do you mean? Why do you say that? And he said, because with national popular vote, Utah will not be a flyover state anymore. Look at that map. Where are the candidates going to go? They're going to go to the little blue spots, those tiny blue spots that happen to earn a total of 3 million votes more. And we use the example of California. Well, Los Angeles County alone in the Bush-Gore election cast 4.7 million votes. Do you know how many votes Utah cast total for all of Utah in the Bush-Gore election? 910,000. 1/5 of a single county in California. Where are candidates going to go to campaign? Are they ever going to come to Utah for a measly less than 1 million votes? They're going to Los Angeles County. Guess how many in the greater New York area? 4.1 million votes in the greater New York area. We'll be more flyover than ever. National popular vote, all those red areas, we have those 2 extra electors because the founding fathers were so enlightened that helped to give the smaller, more grassroots, more community-based, more rugged individualist states more of an even playing field in a presidential election. It was a brilliant, brilliant design, and now we have this scheme that's trying to tip the scales away from us. We need to defeat national popular vote. The sponsor this year is Steve Elison, and if he is your representative, have a conversation with him. And I'd ask him a bunch of questions. How do you think this is ever going to help a Republican? And it's really important that we be contacting all of our representatives. It's originating in the House. Everybody, find out who your representative is, call them, find out where they are on national popular vote, ask them those important questions. Why would you want to have Hillary for president? Another important point is that this compact only needs 270 electoral votes to trigger. Right now it's dormant, but it triggers as soon as the compact has claimed 270 electoral votes. Do you know where they are right now with just 10 states? There's only 10 states in the compact, and they already have 165 electoral votes. They're only 100 votes away. With only 10 states. If the 16 most popular states join the compact, it will trigger. With only 16 states, and guess who they are? They're all the liberal ones. California's in there. New York's in there. All the liberal states are in there. If you take out Texas, because they're usually conservative, it only takes 19 states to trigger this scheme. We've got to fight it tooth and nail, and I hope that you'll do your part when it comes up in the legislature this year. Thank you. Okay, is it constitutional? The compact, technically, the Constitution says, and Scott needs to answer that. The Constitution says that the states cannot enter into compacts, and this is a compact. It's also not constitutional because it's a misuse of the Electoral College, but because they admit there's no way they're going to get a constitutional amendment, so they're just trying to subvert it.
If we had decent Supreme Court justices, they'd rule against it, right? The compacts, the contracts.
It is unconstitutional in my opinion, but there's been a lot of opinions that are coming out of the Supreme Court that in my view have not been constitutional. So, okay, if for the sake of time, and I know I would love to answer every question, but we want to go home tonight too, right? And we still have Scott. He is the guy we call for any kind of constitutional question. He's our expert. He's written books and DVDs and CDs. We love him, and so we want to give him some time. Please stick around, because Kathy Erickson is going to sing a closing song. She did this same song a few years ago in our convention, and it just made me bawl. It's a song that petitions God, basically, for his aid in all that we do. So stick around for that.